Alright, guys. Mm. Today, I got the whole fam here, all together, watching old fights. UFC 144. Great fight, but an exceptional robbery, because I'm absolutely positive that Frankie Edgar did beat Benson Henderson in the rematch, but more importantly, we're going to watch this December coming up Nathan Diaz versus the winner of that fight, which would be Benson Henderson. Now, take into account that Nathan Diaz has had trouble with wrestlers and bigger guys. He did move up to 170 for quite some time, and at 170 he found some success. Look at you look at the fight with Rory McDonald. He abolished him, and if you certainly look at the fight, which is free on YouTube, look at the fight against Marcus. Marcus Davis. It was brutal. As long as he held that choke in, and he only held it in as long as the referee, let him hold it in, and it was a brutal choke. It was a brutal, nasty choke, which I had the honor of seeing live, and it was awesome, man. It was awesome. I mean, he boxed up Marcus in his own hometown of Boston, and ended up choking him out in the second or third round. It was incredible. And then he went on a two-fight lose streak up at 170. Rory McDonald beat him, and Dong Young Kim beat him with some solid wrestling. Moved back down to 155. Bang, started whooping some ass. Down at 155, especially against Jim Miller, a guy that's never been stopped in his home state, New Jersey. So let's talk about Nate Diaz for 1 second here. Nate Diaz, quick breakdown. Nate Diaz did fight prior to the Ultimate Fighter, of course, and the Ultimate Fighter showcased Nate Diaz's skills as a jiu-jitsu artist, but did not really show his skills as a boxer. As a boxer, Nate Diaz is incredible. He's picked up the Stockton slap with I mean, no regard to anyone else's form or technique. It was all it's all within the Gracie camp. It's all within Cesar Gracie camp and his brother and Richard Perez and all those guys. And if you look at his boxing, it may be getting better than Nick's. Who knows, man? I mean, this kid is still growing. He's still he's striving to become the best. And what's going to happen when you strive when you're striving as hard as him to become the best? That's going to bring the best out of not only you but your team, your corner. It's going to boost your confidence, as if the Diaz brothers' confidence doesn't need a boost. But hey, man, my pick is Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is my pick only because I love Benson Henderson too. I think he's an incredible fighter. But the last fight that he had was UFC 144 against Frankie Edgar. What happened against Frankie Edgar was the first fight looked like a normal Edgar fight. Looks like he's going to be defeated at some point, and of course you can't knock out Frankie Edgar. You can't submit the guy. He's just too goddamn good. I do have respect for Frankie Edgar. I'm just not a fan. So he ends up losing via split decision, and to me, it was clear cut who won that fight. It was Frankie Edgar, and Frankie Edgar won that fight, being buds with Nate Diaz. I would love to see him take that belt in honor of the misjudgment of what happened at UFC 144. That'd be fine with me. But would be a bigger win. Would be a win for Stockton. Would be a win for the real boxers, the real jiu-jitsu artists of mixed martial arts. I mean, his boxing, between his boxing, Muay Thai, and jiu-jitsu, Nate Diaz is unstoppable, and his reach, he's unstoppable. He just has to keep getting better. His brother Nick, a huge supporter of mine and a great subscriber. One of my second favorite fighter of all time, right behind Johnny Bones. I think Nick Diaz, when he comes back in February, is going to do some serious damage on the welterweight division. I expect him to have all eyes on Carlos Condit and GSP. I only expect the best from Nick Diaz. And I think Nick only expects the best from himself. I don't think he wants any easy fights, and I don't think we want to see him take any easy fights. However, I would like to see him challenge Jay Cerrone, who apparently is back. I want to see Jay Cerrone get a win and possibly take that as a warm-up fight. You know, I think, fuck, man, I think Nick Diaz can knock him out. I think Nick Diaz can knock him out early in the second round. Fairly easy, but I mean, it's a it's a fight that Nick's wanted to take ever since Cerrone beat Jay Cerrone beat Joe Diesel Riggs, neither of which are in the UFC anymore. But when they were, Nick, there's a story, I'll post a link below, where Nick actually had a fight inside of the hospital after the decision was made. I believe Nick won that fight as well. I believe Nick definitely won that fight against Joe Diesel Riggs, and you know, to prove it, he beat him up in the hospital, man. You know, he beat his ass in and out of the cage. So, I mean, you got to show some Diaz off, man. I mean, really, if you're a subscriber of mine, then obviously you know, you've heard me talk about the Diaz brothers before, and and they're all about, you know, whooping ass, man. Period. Their boxing is incredible. Coming from Cesar Gracie camp, their submissions are just top notch. Some unseen before. The Goga Plata he put on Gomi. You know, the guillotine he put on Jim Miller, Nate Diaz, it's just unheard of, impeccable, incredible, and can't wait to see this. This is actually going to be kind of a filler video. I'm definitely going to do a Diaz versus Henderson video where it's full-fledged once everything's cleared up and everything's okay. But I'm kind of busted up myself. So I'll check y'all later and let me know what you think. Henderson, Diaz, who's FTW?